Oh god, it's like 12:30 right now. What's going on, guys? This is going to be episode 2 of the reverse engineering course series thing. It's been a while since the first one, so I'm kind of like it took me like probably 20 minutes before I started recording for me to kind of remember what I did in the last episode. But this episode is going to be very simple. We're going to build a C2. Okay, so I'm going to use the word C2 very loosely because C2 is supposed to stand for command and control, and we're not really going to be controlling or commanding much. But basically what this is going to do, it's going to take all of the information that we had on the victim computer from last time, the username and the operating system information mainly, and it's going to send all of that information back to a central server. Now, the idea is this central server is going to be one that the attacker controls. That's why it's the C2. So in this episode, basically it's going to be the first time that we build anything that's actually going to benefit the attacker. So the idea is this is going to be where we get kind of more information about the system that we've infected. It still doesn't do anything. I mean, we're literally just gathering information at this stage, but this is going to be kind of the beginning of some actually like nasty functionality. So this is going to be something that tells the attacker something about the victim. I'll kind of explain a little bit about what I'm talking about on the whiteboard, just here in a second. I got a new camera that's going to kind of help me do more whiteboardy stuff because the old one was just so crap that I didn't even bother. And I have this like massive blackboard whiteboard. I have this massive whiteboard that I can use, so I might as well actually use it for something, even though I'm explaining incredibly simple concepts. It more helps me, and it might help other people to kind of see things visually because I'm a visual learner. That's why I like doing YouTube stuff. So I'm going to use the new camera, the Canon EOS Rebel T6, to kind of explain things on the whiteboard a little bit more often, and hopefully if there are people who aren't familiar with like malware terminology, that'll help them out and it'll help me kind of get better at helping other people out, if that makes any sense at all. Like I said, it's like 12:30 midnight right now, so I'm kind of running on caffeine and prayers. Anyways, to the whiteboard. Okay, so here's our whiteboard. Look at it. It's empty. Let's say we've got two people. We've got Joe, a good guy. Let's just call him the average user. The average Joe, one might say. And we've got Sam. Sam's kind of a dick. He's a bad guy. So, Sam sends Joe an email. That email contains a nasty virus, the one that we're making actually, and Joe opens it because it's like cat pictures or something. So when Joe opens it, he secretly starts the virus that we've created, and that virus gathers up a lot of information on his computer. Now at the moment, Sam can't actually see any of that data. It's still sitting on Joe's computer. He can't access any of it, so the virus is pretty much pointless. Sam has to find some way to access the data. So what Sam does is he creates a C2 server, a command and control server. That server is a second computer, most of the time, that Joe's information is going to be sent to by the virus. On that server is a secondary program that gathers up all of the data and makes it more digestible. Later on, that C2 is actually going to be doing most of the badness for us, automatically. Sam doesn't want to have to do everything manually when he sends all of these virus-infected cat pictures. He's going to want it all to happen automatically. That's what the control aspect and the command aspect of the C2 comes from. Now let's get to the fun stuff. If I bored you with kind of the very simple what is a C2 talk, this is going to be a little bit more for you. So basically, we've got all of this information on the victim PC, and we have to find some way to get it off. As I mentioned in the first episode, which I'm going to link to here because damn it didn't take off on YouTube, we aren't going to be focusing on all of the fancy stuff like encryption and stealth and, generally being good malware. We're instead just going to go for the quick and easy route, and we're going to sprinkle all of the fancy over it later on. So basically what we're doing here is just a raw socket connection using TCP. It's been a long time since I've done socket programming in C++, and honestly, I forgot how much hell it was. Honestly, a fair bit of my time was spent on just consulting MSDN docs and just in general hating my life because things weren't working correctly. Not to mention, once things did start working correctly, I ran into an issue that I thought was my code but ended up just being a VirtualBox configuration issue. Essentially, I was running all of the VMs off of one IP address, so when the victim was trying to reach out to the C2, it was just reaching out to itself, and that didn't work very well. So once I had all of that figured out, all of the issues kind of ironed themselves out, and I was able to send all of the data over a raw TCP socket connection to the C2. On the C2 side, all it's doing is listening. It grabs the information, spits it out to a file, and the file name is the first 10 characters of the MD5 hash of the username, IP, and operating system version, I believe. I don't really see potential with me having MD5 collision problems. I mean, come on now. It's a YouTube series where I'm just testing dumb malware. So I found that this was probably a good enough way to do the unique file name functionality. In the next episode, I'm just going to simply expand the C2 to kind of, I don't know, just wait a little bit longer than one connection and start pulling some actual persistent data off of the victim. So we're going to start doing stuff like keylogging and grabbing passwords and all of that fun stuff. We're also going to run the file tree, see if there's anything interesting. Basically, we're going to be doing all of the things that malware should be doing, and the C2 is just going to stay open and start receiving that data actively and storing it.